What's going on YouTube? Welcome to another stream. This is sort of stream 25, it's not really, but the counter says it is, so I'll take it. We've got George and Chris here already. Thank you guys for joining me. Tonight, I'm going to make a custom power steering reservoir. And we've got the same, oh no, we're good. So I've already cut the parts, I've already folded the parts. Tonight, I'm going to push this button if it'll let me. And if the stream dies, I'll come back. But if it stays up, I'm going to make a YouTube video simultaneously with the stream. We'll see how that works. So I have a customer by the name of Nathan. I didn't actually ask him ahead of time if he minds me broadcasting this, but I won't give away too much information. But he sent me these drawings and I'll pop them across the screen. So I've got a side profile, a other side profile, and a top view. So he sent me these drawings to make this tank, and the drawing of interest is the one in the center there. That has the most information on it, which shows a 30-degree, I'm trying to show here, a 30-degree angle for the fittings versus the bracket. So that's this drawing right here has the most information, most useful information. And then in the other ones, we just get the height and the bracket length. I often get drawings like this, if I'm totally honest, and no offense to anyone who sent me drawings, but this is a really good drawing compared to some that I get from time to time. And I do a lot of remote work or off-site work where people will send me either a mock-up they've made. I've made things from carvings that people have given me from styrofoam through to cardboard templates sent to me, and then drawings such as this, right through to having CAD files, which obviously make things a little bit easier. So tonight we're going to assemble this power steering res. I've been given the liberties to design the baffling myself, and on this I've just designed a over here, I've just designed a quick splash guard that will splash, that'll protect for splash on the inlet or the return, and a little diffuser plate that'll go from the outlet. So there'll be a -6 up here, a -10 down there, in and out, and then the bottom plate has just got a engraving on it that states the part number that's in my computer system, the date build, and I've actually been designing these, so this is for an R34 Catch Can, to go on every product that I make from now on. I've been playing with the idea for a while, but I'm in a position now where this can be a reality from here on out. George out bush. With bad phone signal. Well, I appreciate even with bad phone signal that you're spending a bit of time with me. It really does mean the world. So I put these tabs on the baffles here just to make my life a bit easier when I weld them in. The other thing, which we'll just pick up this drawing here. So the thing that I want to be mindful of is which is top this way, is how it's going to be viewed in the vehicle. And I don't actually have that information, but I'm going to use the fitting side as the 0, as the front. So get you up here looking down. So with the fittings facing this way, I'm going to have the full level marker facing the fittings, and I don't know if that's going to be straight in the vehicle, but it's going to make sense to line it up with the hoses. So what we're trying to do here is just line up that splash guard with that -10 fitting and trying to level this out. We've done not too bad. So I made this a really tight fit because I want it to be a really tight fit. That statement probably doesn't make sense, but I wanted it to be really snug around the edges. So I actually, when I drew this up, I measured this little section of pipe and really made sure that it was going to be a good fit in this section of pipe. The other thing that I've got here is the length on this part is 125 mil, and I've cut this piece of tube at 121 mil because we're putting 2 mil caps on 2 mil thick caps on either end. So the overall length of this will be 125 mil, as the customer requested. I guess I just mentioned that for food for thought. If you're designing a part, I've been caught out a couple of times by not allowing for the thickness of material when I design a part. Often I design and 3D print and then make the part and it's 4 mil wider all over. Sometimes you get away with it, but it's basically just a note that I have on my machine to remind me not to make the part too large based on material thickness. So I just want this baffle to sit below the hole for the -10 fitting. And we've just got a little crescent, I'll get you in this screen here, and I've just got a little crescent cut out in that to allow the power steering fluid to drain instead of using a cone-shaped baffle or a plate with a ton of holes in it, like you might see in other designed power steering res. Basically, similar to my catch cans, I have effectively created a maze inside this can. So pressurized oil coming in through the side, hitting that splash plate and diffusing, having ample room to hold volume in there. And to not be pressurizing or basically hose blasting the volume inside there, and then an area to hold non-turbulent oil for the feed. If that all makes sense without me drawing a diagram, but I'm sure you guys totally get it. So now we're going to weld this up. I'm actually thinking I might, no, actually scrap that. I was going to say I might weld these fittings on first, but I want the fitting weld to go over the seam. So I have locked off my rotary table, which I do plan to weld this with the positioner. So now all I need to do is weld those 4 tabs. So we've got 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, obviously. Nice, easy access. So let's get into it. And you're in focus there. I'll just jump over to the settings screen, and I realize I didn't set my welding camera up tonight. But you can see pretty well and we'll just jump into this pulse setting number 1 and get some pulsed welds in there. The thickness of this tube, this is 3.5 inch, so 90 mil roughly. It's about 2 mil thick. This is just some leftover pipe that I've just put on the linisher, cleaned up, and I've just burnished all these parts because it's going to go out to the customer as a raw finish part. I'm going to be welding across here. I think everything, oh no, that's okay. So everything I want to do for me might make it harder for you to see, but it does not. I'll just get you in focus. There. I'll put your welding helmet on and we'll get in a welding screen. And we'll flip that part over and weld the tabs on the other side. Alright, so the baffles are all sealed in place. There's some nice little welds inside there that nobody will ever see. I'm going to start on the bottom. And again, we're going to use the fittings as our 0 point. And I do want to use a heat sink because this is going to get hot really fast. And let's get this thing spinning. Okay. I really tried to slow down the rotary table today. to try and be able to get a good finish for this thin material. So I'm just changing over to setting number 1, which is 123 Hertz. It's a square wave, -28 on the AC balance. And we're at 110 amps on this one now, getting some really good welds lately. I'm going to put my start stop where the fittings are, since we're going to cover it over when we weld the fitting on. And I just saw there, which I don't think I explained, I do have a score line on the side of this part right here to show where the bracket's going to go. So I've tried to do all the work ahead of time so we can just make this thing tonight. So you're in focus, but you're not going to see much there. Oh, no, I don't like that. There's not much I can do about. Oh, if I weld over here, you'll be able to see. Just get that in focus and put your welding helmet on. If I go the long way, we'll find it. See how it goes. Right, I had to drop my chair right down, so I'm sitting super low to get a good angle there. Definitely had this spinning too slow. I got some really big dabs there. This one here, do you guys get to see a good angle of that as he comes around? No, you don't. But I just had a bad filler rod angle, so I've got a little bit of wicking on that part right there, on that dab right there. But I just adjusted and it's all good. So let's flip that over. This panel doesn't matter, it just has a up and a down. That being said, I might just get the burnishing lines to go the same direction as the filter, as the fill line. Not that you're going to see much of that, but just aesthetically it might look nice. I'm going to weld over here. You're going to miss a fair bit of that. If I weld over here, I don't think I can do that though, we'll see. I have a filler rod that is about 25 centimeters long. Do we think that's long enough for this weld? I don't want to risk it since this is the top and I only get one chance at making this part. So we've got no fittings to hide the start-stop. So if I start at this scribe line here, since we are going to weld a bracket on there. So if I start the weld right there, I'll just nick a little line there. That will be a good place. It will be the only logical place for a start-stop. Put your welding helmet on. I can't see from this really low angle. And we'll jump into a welding screen. So I was chasing that weld backwards, so you probably didn't get to see too much of it. Evidently you didn't get to see too much because that camera decided to take a break. But we've managed to weld the top and bottom. Top weld was much better than the bottom weld. Still spinning a bit fast. I don't think I actually adjusted that. So that looks pretty good speed-wise. So next is put the filler cap on. So this is a 25 millimeter aluminium cap. That is an anodized lid, and we are going to laser engrave that as soon as we've finished welding. And now I need to make an assumption, and I'm going to assume that where the bracket mounts on this part, which the bracket is mounting like that, somewhere like that, yes. So I'm going to assume that that is the back, and makes logical sense that that will be bolted against something. So I'll put the start stop on that fitting where that bracket's going to mount. So jump in there and get 3 tacks around it. I'll zoom you in right there. You're not gonna, I really need to move this camera arm, but that's not gonna happen tonight. Put your welding helmet on, jump into a welding screen. Incredibly ambitious weld at 110 amps. So jump back here and we'll just flick over to program number 2, which I think is 150 amp setting. 154 amp on this one. I will just change it to that magic 123 hertz. And I'll bump this down to -28 on the AC balance. Everything else is the same, so effectively we're just welding at a higher amperage. You made a design change to your soccer ball. Yeah, 32 parts. Yeah, I guess unless you have a jig for it, but yeah, I can see how that can get out of control pretty quick. Have you welded the stainless steel one? Any success or updates? So let's put your welding helmet on here and we'll roll around this cap. Of course, I'll go the long way for you. Oh, that was hard work. I should have changed to a 2.4mm filler instead of sticking with the 1.6. I did have to feed rod like crazy on that one. Now I'm at a point where we need to put the fittings on. So I have, let's just go. Trying to focus you, but spinning the wrong dial. So I have just buzzed a little bit of a recess in on the belt sander on both these fittings, just to help me locate them a little bit easier. I don't think it really helps with filling any gaps or anything, but it certainly helps locating the part. So unless I profiled it to fit, but these little fittings on the belt sander get hot really fast. So just put a little nick in them just to help me locate them upright. Just trying to make sure I'll be able to line them both up okay. Since I don't want both the fittings pointing up as the fittings come out, if they're straight fittings, I don't want them to be cocked on each other, because that will be quite noticeable in the vehicle. So I think we're pretty good there. I'm just going to let this spin around and get a couple of tacks on them. Get you over here. Yeah, so I thought your stainless would be easy just to be able to spot tack it. But the alloy, you need a fixture or an extra set of hands. Yeah, did you ever see, I think it was 6061's video on YouTube where he had tacked them flat and then folded them up on a, I think it was a hexagon or, you know, like a soccer ball design. But yeah, really, really difficult to tack the aluminium like that. I guess the other thing you could do would be to put some little tabs in there for tacking, a little bit of sacrificial material. But then if you have to manipulate it, they're just going to crack, aren't they? So we're going to stick on this setting. We're still on the... Well, now I don't know because everything's the same. I think we're still on setting number 2. Yes, so we're still at 150 amps. This will be great for these fittings. I will just grab a 2.4mm filler and I'll just tack these in 2 places per fitting. We'll get your welding helmet on, jump in a welding screen. So it looks like the looking camera is not wanting to play along tonight. I have a suspicion it's because I have another camera hooked up. Seems like last stream everything was fine and I didn't have this fourth camera connected. Tonight I do, and we are having the camera dropout issue again. Which is a Microsoft, it's the Microsoft camera, which is, maybe it's surprising, maybe it's not. Okay, so this, I've actually cut this a little bit lower. I cut it at 120 mil instead of 125 mil, which is the overall height of this whole product here. Just so I wouldn't have, I don't know, if you've ever welded a bracket that overhangs another weld, it always looks a bit terrible, so I cut it a bit short to try and avoid that. And I do have a good side and a bad side, just with one being a film side that had film on it and one that didn't. So I just want it to be lined up with that line, and we're going for a 30-degree offset from the bracket to the fittings there. So just want to sort of teeter it in place to get a tack at the top there. I'm going to lock it off here and we'll pop your welding helmet on. Just going to do 2 tacks and I'll come back. And that camera dropped out again. Okay. So we'll pop that over there. I just want to verify that I've got that 30-degree angle. So just on those 2 tacks, I will be able to make any adjustments that I need to make. I'm just going to put a bit of weight on that side, and I'm just going to grab my angle gauge. So I do just have a I have an offset mark on that bracket, but super easy just to, I just zeroed out the welding table on this little digital gauge. I would like to show you, but I also want to prioritize getting this correct. So So 30 degrees there. which this digital gauge here is just a little level box. So super easy. You can either set it up as a level and it will just read level no matter what, or you can zero it if you're off level and then manipulate from that 0 point. It is magnetic as well. The backs aren't magnetic, which I wish they were for cutting steam pipe and things like that, but super handy little thing to have in your workshop. This one has been through hell and just keeps on doing what it should do, which is awesome. You see the ones that they sell now are blue. I don't know how I got a red one, but doesn't it work well with my theme in my workshop? So I normally just have this stuck to my pan brake. So as I fold things, I can quickly check them. Super handy little tool. So we are going to weld this bracket on. I think I actually want to go from top to bottom, which I'll do that by propping it up a little bit higher. And we'll just wait for him to come back around. Going to weld it on the 150 amps setting that we're on currently with a 2.4mm filler. I almost let that spin round again because I was watching the screen, not real life. So I'm going to weld across here. You guys can see that pretty well, I think. And we'll put your welding helmet on and we'll jump in a welding screen. Did that camera stay on? Yes, it did. There we go. We have done the fabrication portion of this power steering res. Let's just stand him up. Get these chill blocks out the way. All right, now I'm going to just grab a little bit of air to cool this down. Let's seat back up. And I'll pop you in a welding screen just to save your ears a little bit. Okay. So I just wanted to cool that down a bit because we are going to put the cap on. So I just have the cap associated with this here. It's going to pop the seal out because it is still a little bit warm. The seal being out doesn't really affect what we've got going on, but it will allow me to screw it all the way down, and any residual heat in this part won't be affected at all. So we still are considering the fittings as 0, so I'm going to we're actually going to laser engrave power steering on this cap, and I'm going to treat the fittings as the bottom for the writing. And to do that, I'm just going to pop a little bit of tape on here to represent the bottom. So when we take this off over to the laser, we'll be able to know which way goes down. This is normally I buy raw finish caps. I bought from the same supplier and got these silver anodized caps. They are exactly the same caps that I usually use, just they happen to be anodized. And it actually works out perfect considering that I am making raw finished products now. So ordinarily to do this engrave, it would have to be done on the CNC, and to do it on the CNC router, it would require me to bolt the part down, like to be able to secure the part. In the laser, it doesn't. So to be able to laser anodizing is awesome compared to not being able to. What am I even saying? So let me see if I can show you the laser. I tentatively tried to set up so you could see what's going on, and by that we should be able to go into this screen, turn on the camera, and you can see what I've set up there. I did not check the audio in this view, so we'll just wait for the 40-second delay and make sure I can hear myself and you can hear me. And we'll buzz over to the laser. So the laser's over there. I have it linked to, I have basically this whole shop voice activated. So, hey Google, turn on the laser. So the laser is on, the light is on. Let's head over there. So I can't quite see the screen and do this at the same time, but I'll talk you through it. So I've got a piece of cardboard in here already that has a 0 point and a test fire, just to make sure everything is lined up and working. So I'll just put my face in the laser here, and I haven't taken my welding helmet off. And all I'm trying to do is make sure that that piece of tape is level with the bottom. The laser pointer is something that you can't see. You can see the reflection of it. Yeah, which is not something that I've never turned the light off in here before, but you can see the laser pointer there. So that's lined up directly in the center. I have the program saved. I'm just going to shut the lid to save my eyes, and we'll push go. And we'll find out if the laser shuts the stream down. So I didn't spend too much time trying to get a good camera angle or anything. I actually wasn't sure if we'd get to this point in the video. but we'll let that do its thing. It's just going to write power steering. It's going to engrave it twice. And then I'll bring you back over to the welding table to view that. If we go, I don't know what you can see from this camera. You can't see anything. The laser's just doing laser things. So the beauty of engraving anodizing is it doesn't really emit any gas or any smells. So I can do that with the extraction off. So the extraction is super loud in this shop. But we'll just let him finish up. And that was a really good engrave, so let's jump in there and take him out. Hey Google, turn off the laser. So let's bring this camera back here. And am I going to be able to show you that? So now we say power steering. I just had like the worst thought, like what if I'd spelt that wrong? Power steering. We have power steering. So many times because I write powder coating so much for the business, so many times I go to write power and I write powder just out of habit. So I'll pop that seal back in. This, actually I'm going to pop that seal out. There's still a bit too much heat in there. They're not silicon seals. They're there's some sort of rubber blend. I don't want to melt the seal. So that gets us pretty well in line. With the seal on, it gives us a little bit of leeway. Let's zoom in, stand up. And there we go. We have made the custom power steering reservoir that was presented to us in these 3 drawings. So this was all the information we had to go on. Nice, good drawings and plenty of information to be able to decipher how to make this part, and then the finished product. We'll just turn these off so I don't get confused. And the finished product matches the drawing, I think, pretty well. So we are done on this one. There is one other job I want to get done tonight, but I'm just going to, excuse me, I'm just going to let that do one more spin around. Really happy with how that turned out. I hope the customer's happy as well. The customer does already have a couple of my products, so you know, he didn't come into this blind. He knew the quality of work to expect. And yeah, that looks great. We'll give him a clean up afterwards. I did notice when I was moving it around before that there is a little bit of marking on the bottom, which I think is from my gloves. So I do want the customer to be somewhat impressed with the engraving as well. The only thing on this product is it doesn't have any AT Performance branding. And sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. But apart from the baffles, which I think are pretty rudimentary in this kind of part, I didn't really have any design input. So I didn't really want to go ahead and put you know, my logo on it somewhere. But it does have the ATP in the part number on the bottom. You know, not that I'm trying to brand literally everything in somebody's vehicle, but when I put this much effort in, I definitely want people to know where it comes from. But word of mouth is also a great tool. So I believe building a great product, and or I believe in building a great product, and hopefully the customer feels like this is a great product and won't hesitate to tell people who built it. So just to finish off tonight, I will stop. We are recording that as a YouTube video as an experiment, so we'll stop the recording and hopefully the stream doesn't die. It should keep chugging along. Zoom you out here. So we've got this R34 Catch Can. This is the one-off or the new version with the breather, with the recirculating setup. I just want to weld the brackets onto this tonight because it is overdue for powder coating, and powder coating in general is overdue at the moment, so I'm trying to get it organized to drop it off first thing in the morning. I definitely need to stop this table spinning. We'll just kick this keyway out. And now we've got control of our table again. So that engraving that we did on this tank, for example, this will go to powder coat with the cap on it without the rubber seal in, and then when it returns, I will what am I trying to say? I will engrave washer bottle on it into the powder coat, and the powder coat has a really great contrast when it's engraved. Actually, I don't, with the washer bottles, I engrave the washer symbol, so the little half moon sort of windscreen with little dots on it. I don't actually engrave the words. But let's get these brackets on. How can I? So I'm going to be over here. You're not going to see much, but I'm really just going to get them done while I'm on stream. I will flip this over and you'll see the bottom ones being welded. But I'm going to get a couple of tacks on for now. We'll pop your welding helmet on and jump into a welding screen. Camera stayed on, everything's good. Just unclip this and take the jig away. And I'm just going to weld this bottom bracket on. So I keep this bracket long because this does sit hard down in the engine bay. And I actually will weld another panel to the bottom there just to give it some protection over time. I saw one recently that had been fitted to a car, come out for the car to have some work done, and I was really unhappy to see that the bottom was all scratched. So now I'm actually thinking about making a fitted rubber gasket to ship out with these tanks. So while this one's at powder coat, I'm actually going to develop that rubber gasket, and on the laser cutter I make the gaskets for these. But yeah, so that was always the theory behind leaving this long bracket, and I put a plate in over here as well, just to protect anything wearing through over time. So I actually do have the intent that this catch can will be in the car for years, so I don't want anything to go wrong 5-10 years from now. But let's pop your welding helmet on and we'll go the long way just for something different. And we'll pop you in a welding screen. I had a suspicion that that camera dropped out. What I'm going to do, since we're done with the laser now, is unplug that laser camera. So I am 100% certain that that's the culprit. Next up is to weld this bracket on. I actually just weld this end just in case any manipulation needs to happen with this bracket during install. It is fitted to the jig, and this jig has been tested on numerous cars, but doing this as long as I have, I've seen crashed cars where catch cans don't fit. People have drilled and filled and all sorts of things on mounting holes that I've used to create my jigs. So I never take, especially a car that was built 20 years ago, or 24 years ago in some cases, I never take the slip-in fitting for granted on a sheet metal panelled car. So I do just weld, so I fully weld the bottom one for the scuffing protection that I spoke about. But this bracket on the side here, I do give it a little bit of ability to be manipulated a little if needed. So let's jump into a welding screen. Pop your welding helmet on. Okay, and finally, we're going to weld that front plate on. Which in this case is, if I can pick it up. I've gone the worst way. Is this engraved plate here that I mentioned at the top of the video, that plates like these are going to be fitted to all the products that I make from now on, not necessarily the ones that I have already cut and are in production, but everything that gets cut on my CNC from now on is going to go out the door with one of these plates. So ordinarily I would just weld just a regular piece of aluminium here for protection, but in this case I'm going to use this plate. So I'm going to spin it this way, and then spin it that way. So I'll do this weld and then we'll come back and reposition. I better put your welding helmet on first and chuck you in a welding screen. I was just majorly distracted because my robot vacuum cleaner came off its dock, but it sounded like it came off its dock and said it doesn't want to vacuum, so. Alright, that camera died. I saw the TV, the screen flash out of the corner of my eye. So we're back to, seems like we're back to dealing with an EMF issue, which is fine. So I just weld that plate on there, nothing super fancy. I'm not going to weld it all the way around, and I have been contemplating whether to do a hexagon or a circle to be able to weld these on products all the way around. But at the moment I'm happy with that ID plate just to be welded at both ends. This wasn't really part of the idea tonight, but I really needed to get this done, so I may as well talk to you guys while I do it. But there we go. We got, all we did was chuck the brackets on this, no big deal. Super easy. So this week we're gearing up for the end of the month, or the end of the quarter as it is. So there's a lot of production that's about to happen. So we're going to start welding some different things other than just R34 Catch Cans every night, which I'm really looking forward to. As much as I love a good R34 Catch Can, I would like to show you guys you know, things like the Evo 6 Catch Can and things that are a little bit tricky, things that are a little bit more tricky to build. And I have 2 custom builds coming up, which I'll definitely do on stream, much like tonight. Just nice to do something a little bit different, and something that I don't have a system for is always fun for me as well. Tonight we had George and Chris in the chat. Thank you guys so much for coming, hanging out with me and having a chat. It's bloody awesome, and I really appreciate it. Nathan, if you see this video, I hope you're happy with my interpretation of your drawings. or the real life representation of your drawings. This will be packaged up and shipped to you tomorrow anyway, so I really look forward to seeing it installed and your feedback on it. To everybody who popped in, I didn't keep an eye on the counter tonight, but if you did pop in and have a look, you bloody rock. Thank you so much for checking out what I got going on. I really, really appreciate it. And anyone who watches the VOD after this was live, I want to know what you think I can do better. How can I improve these live streams? When I watch them back, I tend to get caught up on myself with the downtime of tuning the camera and stuff, but I think it's all a necessity, and it's never going to be a production where there's a second person taking care of that for me. But feedback is very welcome. If you like the video, hit that like button. It really helps. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. That really helps as well. If you've made it this far and are watching this stream after it's been live and you like what I'm doing, subscribe. Subscribers are a big thing for this channel at the moment. We're still at that infancy stage where we need to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark to be able to start using YouTube's advertising tools. Everybody, you're bloody legends. Thank you so much, and I am going to see you tomorrow.